my screen and we will get underway. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, now we are all set. All right, so good morning, good evening, everyone, once again. Let's get started with our opening prayers like we always do. So give me a sec. We will get underway. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so Radha Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Let's get started. Again, a very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. So it's always good to be back. Let's get started with our opening soul soup segment. So we are doing the success, happiness, and fulfillment series. As part of that, what we are talking about is problems that all of us can relate to. And last time we discussed that problems are the really avoidable, and we spoke that problems are actually unavoidable. Nobody can avoid problems. They are part and parcel of the very design of this world. And there's a reason for that. And we'll continue to build on this topic as part of this discussion. And we took inspiration from this beautiful doha from Kabir ji. Sona sajjan sadhujan tute jure sobar, durjan kumbh kumar ke eke dhakka darar. Now we have a choice. Either we want to become like gold or that clay pot. One problem comes and it breaks it for good. But when it is somebody who has acquired virtuous um, nature or like gold, the more tribulations or pain or hard times they go through, they just come out better and stronger out of it. So that is a quality gold has as well, right? When you take it through the test of fire, it comes out more purer, that point. So again, it's a spiritual principle that, it's said that nazar, like in Hindi, they say everybody is provided a sight, right? Ability to, not everybody, I mean, most of us have it. Ability to sight is to see is there. But do we have a perspective? That is something that spirituality helps us develop. Now, all of us are endowed with brains, but does it mean we have wisdom? Not necessarily. That is something that comes with knowledge, proper knowledge, bona fide knowledge, spiritual knowledge, right? So, having sight does not mean we have a perspective, having brain does not mean we have acquired the wisdom. And that is where this knowledge comes in very handy, the spiritual knowledge that we are talking about. And we also spoke about that माया की मार से बच सके ना कोई ज्ञानी भुगते ज्ञान ते मूर्ख भुगते रोए. So choice is always us. Problems are a part and parcel of life. How we want to view those is entirely up to us. Now today we'll add success is also sometimes defined as an ability to solve problems. Problems are bound to happen, uh, but then successful people, they solve problems. They are solution oriented as opposed to problem oriented. So these problems are unavoidable, like I said. So there's I mean, kind of a joke or a story you can talk about. There was a guy He checked his email. He woke up in the morning and found two requisitions of service, and then one person was complaining the machine was really bad that they had purchased, and then his ongoing project, the other machine was broken, and the project that he was working on, it was in a critical condition, and they wanted him to reach the very next day there as well. And then there was a message from a factory that they had an affiliation with. They said they have a non-functioning machine there that requires his urgent attention. So it's one of that perfect storm days that he had, right? So when he was going to his office and he waved to a cab driver, and the cab driver stopped and he said, "Where should I take you, sir?" So this guy says, "Take me anywhere. Okay, I don't care. I have problems everywhere. So no matter where you take me, I'll have a problem today," right? So this can happen. We can have those perfect storm days, but the fact of the matter is it's a little exaggerated. Problems are there everywhere. And it's a reality of life. And since we have problems to solve, that's why we have a job as well. If we didn't have any problems to solve, then there's no need for a job. Everybody's problems are there. So problem is something that we have to look at it in perspective and embrace, right? Now, there was a guy who had gotten down from his car, and he parked on the curbside, and his tire was punctured, and he was replacing it with a spare one. And the man who was replacing it, his 5-year-old son was sitting in the car as well. And he felt miserable about the situation. That car, they've got a punctured flat tire here. So he asked his dad, he complained to his dad that, the dad, why did this happen to us? So the dad's response was, this is not a TV show that we can switch the channel every time we do not like the program. We just have to deal with it. So similarly, problems will come. We just have to deal with it. And ability to solve problems, or ability to look at problems in the right perspective, is the key to a successful and a fulfilling life. Because problems are designed in a manner, they are part and parcel of this life, right? And plus the good part of it is that they come in a manner that is well within our ability to solve. It's not something that is way beyond our ability, because God, he designed this whole material world is designed in a way so that we can come out of better and stronger out of it. The intent is not to demoralize us or break us. The intent is to give us that kick so that we can tap into our resilience and come out better and stronger. So it said, right, if you are, let's say your ability is at this level, and if you always are challenged with things which are at this level, then you will remain lazy or complacent. But if the problem is slightly at a higher level, then you will be forced to stretch, right? Like they say, pushing the envelope. And when you do that, you come out better and stronger, and then you come at this level, and then the problem will be at this level, this journey continues to unfold. Okay. Now that doesn't mean we become scared that, okay, the level of my problems will keep on increasing as I keep on evolving spiritually. The point here is that we will come out better and stronger, which will serve us in good stead in long run. So that is where Bhagavad Gita comes in very handy. It is like Trai Prasthan of our Vedic wisdom, and the most accessible one. So, like I initially at the beginning of the session, I was saying that just because we have sight does not mean we have a perspective. Just because if we have a brain, that does not mean we have acquired the wisdom. This book is a great way to acquire both perspective and wisdom to deal with problems or the curveballs that life is going to throw at us regardless. Now let's move on to our shloka. By the way, today we are going to have a bit of a discussion on the shloka. We are talking about Yukta Vairagya and what is true detachment. This is the part 2 series. And then we have a supplemental segment that I'm looking forward to, spiritual cash up, where we are going to have some concepts, spiritual concepts, which are going to augment the discussion or build on what we have, reinforce some of it, help us reflect on it. So that segment will be followed after the discussion that we have. So let me recite the shloka, and then you're welcome to follow along. Sankhya Yogo Prithak Balaha Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekam Apyasthita Samyog Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. Let's take a few minutes.
Shri Ramya ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Shri Ramya.
Radhe Radhe. Sankhya Yogo Prithak Bala Pravadanti na Panditaha एकमप्यास्थितः सम्यक् उभयोर्विन्दते फलम्. Thank you.
Shivamya.
प्रत्युषा जी, राधे राधे।
राधे राधे। साङ्ख्ययोगौ पृथक् बालः प्रवदन्ति न पण्डिताः एकमप्यासितः संयोग उभयोर्विन्दते फलम्.
Very nice. Thank you. Let's take a couple of more hands.
राधे राधे श्याम जी, प्लीज गो अहेड।
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Sankhya Yogo Prithak Balaha Pravadanti na Panditaha Ekamapyasthita Samyag Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. Radhe
Very
Radhe.
okay. You finally aced this shloka as well. Very nice. All right, Riya ji.
यस, राधे राधे रिया जी।
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
साङ्ख्ययोगौ पृथक् बालाः प्रवदन्ति न पण्डिताः एकमप्यास्थितः सम्यक् उभयोर्विन्दते फलम्. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe Sandhya. Go ahead, please.
सांख्य योगो पृथक् बालाः प्रवदन्ति न पंडिताः एकम् अप्यास्थितः सम्यक् उभयोर्विन्दते फलम्।
Very nice. Thank you, Sandhya. So let's get started. In this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying only the ignorant speak of Sankhya, renunciation of actions of Karam Sannyas, and Karam Yoga, which is working in devotion, as different. Those who are truly learned say that applying ourselves to any of these paths, we can achieve the results of both. So we have spoken about this topic, that the inner workings or the inner consciousness in either paths, whether we are doing renunciation of actions, which is called Karam Sannyas, or Karam Yoga, it is both dedicated to God. So it really doesn't matter. Right? So there's no need to differentiate it, because the software aspect of it is same. Right? The optics part of it may vary based on whether you have picked on social duties or not, but the inner functioning is the same, because your mind is geared towards doing things for the service of God. So there's absolutely no difference between in that sense. Now let's continue to build on that detachment aspect of it that we've been talking about. So we said that Sankhya here is referred to Karam Sannyas. We looked at the analytical enumeration of it as well, getting through all the 24 elements. But today we will continue on the Vairagya aspect of it, the Sannyas aspect of it, which is V plus Rag. That means opposite to attachment. So opposite to Rag is Dvesh, but this is not Dvesh. It is not going to the other extreme. Rag is attachment, a positive thing where you feel positively towards somebody, and dvesh is where you feel negative. This part is where you become neutral around that part. Okay, that is what vairagya is. So you don't go to the other extreme, you just become neutral around it. And this is something, it's renunciation actually. So it's like not going the full amplitude, just stopping in between, where you renounce that thing and you become equanimous or neutral to that particular thing. Now, Yukta Vairagya, we spoke about these are the two kinds of Vairagya one can have. One is a Yukta Vairagya, one is a Falgu Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya is what one need to have in order to renounce properly, because it is done from a position of understanding and strength, not with just because you don't have an option at that point, right? And it's not an artificial renunciation where the seeds are existing. It's just that you have forcefully suppressed it, or you are not even aware of your reality. You have just taken a decision where your mind has still not been purified to an extent where it can have an automatic or a natural dissociation with the world. So the true renunciation is when your mind is naturally or automatically drawn towards God, and you are neutral to the world, that there is neither happiness nor misery here. So it is like yoke like the bull is yoked to the cart here, right? That is how our mind, that the natural stream of our thought should naturally be drawn towards God. That is called being yoked to something. So Yukta Viragya, and there's a difference between Yukta and Falgu Viragya. Falgu, we have spoken about the story Falgu River, right, where it may seem like a bed of rocks or a sand, dry, but then underlying there is some water there, and that is why the Falgu River, it was cursed. There was a story that we spoke about. So Falgu Viragya is also like, it may on the surface it may seem like a renunciation, but beneath you're not truly renounced that part. The seeds are still there, and that stash is still there that needs to be confronted in some form or manner, right? So that is what Falgu Vairagya is. Now let's build on this. Dangers of Falgu Vairagya. We'll continue to have this discussion. So this is what happens. We've spoken about this multiple times, but doesn't hurt to repeat it again. When you feel stressed out with your worldly responsibilities, it's like too much of pressure is there in life. Boss is not cooperating, you have family problems, the subjects around you are not aligned. It's like your life is a mess. And when you get totally stressed out with that, and you say, okay, I'm just going to turn my back towards all of this and take a path, turn away from material world and become a monk. Okay, because it seems much more streamlined. Okay, why to deal with all these problems in life, and let me just get into a monkhood where I have reduced my variables in life, and then I can just do a focused study of scriptures, because if that is the ultimate goal, why to waste time in other things, right? If you do it that way, that is now the reason for that, for you actually running away from the world was not that there was a pull. There might have been a pull there as well, but the point is you were thinking there's misery here and I need to avoid that. And God says, no, I'm not going to let you do that. You have to learn your lessons. Then only you are eligible to go to the next step. If you don't learn your lessons, if you still have rag and dvesh around that situation, that means either you are attached or you are averse. Either you have a hankering or you have an aversion. Then there's a problem until you become completely neutral to that. So what happens in these kind of cases is you might resort to this kind of a life, but the seeds of desires are still there. You did not avoid the pull of God. Was not dominating your wish of avoiding misery at that point. So what will happen is you still have those seeds. You'll still go through the gamut of emotions that would come on that path as well. Your desires and emotions would still have a play. You have not really conquered those. And then when you'll find the going gets tough there, or you don't get the required thing, required pleasure that you were seeking out of that, or maybe some hardships are presented on that way, again you'll wish to run back to the material world. So this tipsy turvy, what do you call that, topsy turvy kind of a mindset, ulta pulta, you'll have to deal with, because now you don't have a resolve, because it is done from a position of running or with an understanding that there is misery in this world. So what our scriptures are telling us is that, and eventually it will lead you back to the stress that you started off with. So what our scriptures are saying, you need to be udasin, disinterested, equanimous, dispassionate about the world, that there is neither happiness nor misery in this world. The world is as it is, and the world is Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Our scriptures say that it is a veritable form of God itself. If it is a veritable form of God, then it is serving its purpose. So there is neither happiness nor misery in this world. So when you reach that stage, then you are eligible to renounce that order, right? That can be done only under the expert guidance of a guru, because you cannot take a call based on your own understanding, because your intellect will never give judgment against its own self. It is very smart in justifying itself. So, but yeah, I think you got the key message that you don't run away from the world as long as you even have a trace of that feeling that there is misery in this world, or this is too much, I just want to do that. No, you've not. You have to first make peace with that and then approach this thing. It's a very important concept to understand. Same thing happens, so when you do it with a position of some kind of a turbulence happening within you, then you're not truly taking that means some work is needed to be done there. Same thing happens when you become upset, right? When you're angry, let's say on your kid or somebody, when you vent it out, then it will not have the desired impact. But when you are completely with peace at yourself and you are just stating it labeling your emotion or stating it out, then it'll have a different impact altogether. Same thing, because the turbulence is happening within you. When you are not at peace with yourself, how can you be able to objectively communicate or convey something to somebody else, right? It could have a counter effect. So you need to be at peace with your situation around, then only you can make a right decision, and it'll have the desired impact as well. So let's move on with this. So Falgu Vairagya, I think we have beaten this to death now, Falgu Vairagya. So Arun, you will have a party with the Falgu Vairagya topic next time around, I'm sure. So where people look upon the world as cumbersome, renounce it with the desire of getting rid of responsibilities, hardships, escapist attitude. It's essentially escapist. Okay. It's not something that is condoned or endorsed by Lord Krishna himself. In fact, Bhagavad Gita, people think it'll make you sannyasi. But if you think about it, Arjun wants to become a sannyasi. He's saying, okay, why do I need to take the blood of my relatives on my hand? If the ultimate goal is to realize God, I may do Krishna Krishna and sitting in the forest and become a sannyasi. Why to go through all this stuff? So Krishna says, no, it doesn't work that way. You're a Kshatriya. You have certain tendencies, you have certain predispositions. Honor that, but purify the intent behind that, and that is how you will progress. So similarly, the families that we are born in, the situations we are subjected to, the things that happen in our life, there might be a reason or a reason for that. How do you approach that would determine the trajectory of your spiritual journey, as opposed to thinking of running away from them and or thinking of enjoying that for your own benefit. So here the renunciation is motivated by desire to run away from difficulties. That is also a desire. I want to run away from difficulties. So that will not serve the purpose. And when these people will encounter difficulties on the spiritual path, they will run away from there as well. So if you look at even in the Seva world, a lot of people come thinking, now I'm going to enter Satyug. Okay, everything will be perfectly aligned. People will be like Radhe Radhe and Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, right? And there'll be pleasant vibe everywhere, and everybody will be like laying out a red carpet and rose. Doesn't work that way. World is world. In fact, Seva World is going to have a condensed crash course of life for you, because it will help you not only acknowledge your own frailties, shortcomings, but give you an opportunity to work on them very quickly. So what happens to them is they think there's a lot of problem in this world. I need to run, and now I'm good just to do seva. And then the seva world, same thing happens. They run away from there as well. So the same thing, that was a Falgu Vairagya, right? So we need to look at it that way. We don't run away. When we pick up something on seva or otherwise, this is the design of the world. And let's understand, we are in a madhouse. Ironically, we are also contributing to that. We are not the part of the solution. We are part of the problem. We are also mad people. And it's like, what is that? Which is that bird, which porcupines, right? Porcupines coexisting itself. So you have to huddle together, no matter whether you like it or not. Now you think you are being pricked by somebody, but you don't know who you are pricking, right? That is how it goes. So when you huddle together, the pricks are bound to happen both ways. But we only focus on the pricks that we are getting. But the key is to survive that, look at it in the right perspective, and continue to sail, because this is an opportunity for us not to develop Falgu Vairagya, but Yukta Vairagya. So Seva world is a great way to develop Yukta Vairagya. Detachment with an understanding is neither happiness nor. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Now let's look at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, Jiver Swarup Hoy Nitya Krishna Das, right? You can just put it as a punchline. We are eternal servant of God. Okay, ingrain that in your mind. So when we have that, then that attitude of service would be a natural manifestation of it. It could come in form of helping people to begin with, doing philanthropic deeds, picking up an agenda in life for your family, friends, community, country, planet, whatever it may be. But then as you evolve, you understand the big part of it, right? You have to serve God in some form or manner. So if you have this thing at the back of your mind, that end of the day, we are the eternal servant of God, that attitude, then your desire would be motivated by serving God. And when you do that, automatically Yukta Vairagya, you will start progressing in that direction. Okay, that Falgu Vairagya part will be automatically taken care of. Now, if we look at the examples here, now somebody may say, Guruji, what sadhana should I do to reach God? Guruji said, start running and think Lord Krishna is running with me. Right? So if you're running, you think Lord Krishna is running with you. Then say, he said, what can I if I can't run, I'm not an athlete, what do I do? I said, sure, you can just imagine that Lord Krishna is walking with you. He said, I can't even run, not even walk. I just want to stand. I said, sure, no problem at all. Okay, you can stand and just imagine Lord Krishna is with you. So that's all. It's so simple. You just need to add Lord Krishna to no matter what you're thinking. You can sit as well. You say, I want to sit. Just sit and just imagine Krishna is with you. So that consciousness is basically no matter what you're doing, you bring in that consciousness that God is with me. Okay, we are not alone. Easier said than done, but we need to keep triggers for ourselves to remember that God is both our witness as well as our protector. So, but yeah, so no activity, you can say, hey, by the way, this activity you can think about God in any format, basically, no matter what you are doing. So you sit, and now you may ask that what if I feel like crawling? You say you crawl and say just imagine Krishna is also crawling beside you. So there's no limitation to what you can think, and you can always have God, um, feel God's presence, and that is essentially what Karam Yoga is all about as well. Just have God at the back of your mind for whatever you are doing until it becomes part of our DNA and it comes very naturally to us. So point is AAA. Okay, it's not American Auto or Mobile Association. It's all about the attitude. So start harboring that attitude that Krishna or God is with me. He's watching me. He's my accomplice. He's my protector. He's my witness. Whatever comes to your mind. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
Can someone practice perfect karma yoga without having yukta vairagya?
Can somebody practice perfect Karam Yoga without having Yukta Vairagya? See, it's a journey again, right? In both of them. So we can't say you first perfect this and then you are only eligible for it, right? In both cases, I think it will be a journey. So you cannot do a perfect Karam Yoga. We'll have so many layers of selfishness operating within us as well, right? So I think they both go hand in hand. They are mutually reinforcing. And I think, I don't know which one will happen first, but I think the trajectories would probably flow parallelly for both of them. The more Karam Yoga you do, the more you perfect, the more Yukta Vairagya you would have developed automatically. So it's not like you have first developed perfect Yukta Vairagya, then only you can do Karam Yoga. We simply focus on doing our Karam Yoga aspect of it. And I think Yukta Vairagya would be a natural byproduct of it. Because your sense of doing it for yourself, for your own enjoyment or I aspect will start diminishing automatically. That's how at least I would understand it. Okay. All right. Now two saints. Now King Parikshit. Now if King Parikshit has to rule, let's look at the two saints. Another one is Mahavir, right? Who's a monk. Now King Parikshit, if he has to do that, he would have to do Samadanda Bhed everything. As a ruler, you have to do that. As a prime minister, as a chief minister, as a king, as an emperor, you have to do all that stuff. Now, are they not doing Karma Yoga? They are also doing, but they are following, they're going by the rules of the world. They would have intelligence on the neighboring kingdom as well. So they'll do all those activities where the consciousness is more, united with God at that point. Although superficially, if you look at it, they are doing worldly, mundane things only. And if you look at Saint Mahavir, um, he would even look at, if you go to Jainis, they are so careful about not harming any living being. So food is also eaten during a certain duration, even when they speak. I think some cover their mouth because when you speak, you are killing microorganisms. When they are walking, they are careful about it. Take it to that extent. So if you look at it, it's a very ascetic, renunciated life. Both are following that. However, there's an intersection as you see that, right? There's an intersection, and that is the aspect of internal state in both the activities. So externally, there might be a huge amount of disparity and distinction, even could be diametrically opposite. That, okay, one is doing this, one is doing that. But when you do an internal inquiry, which we cannot do, only God and Guru can do, if you look at it, it's only as a service to the Supreme. And that is where we cannot really dwell too much upon the externals to say whether this person is doing Karam Yoga or not. It looks like doing that. We don't know what is the internal state for them, right? So this is the key thing here. Now, Karam Yogis, they do their duties, but they develop a sentiment of Yukta Vairagya. They are developing that as they continue to do that, or a stable renunciation, because they are progressing on that and they start bringing it into the mix. And they don't think themselves as an enjoyer. So everything for the pleasure of God. And Karam sannyasis, they are absorbed in divine consciousness. So internally, both are same. Now, they may appear to be worldly people, but they are no less than sannyasis. This is the key concept around this thing. So, like the trees, if you look at it, they may look identical on the external, but only on doing a little more granular inquiry, which is the scales, like we have studied in science, you would know the number of rings, what is their age. Externally, both are looking same, right? Similarly, with monks, they may look identical, but their level of detachment could vary, even though externally they are looking same, right? So this is a much deeper thing as opposed to focusing only on the external or the cosmetics aspect of it as well. Like so many kings in our history, they have performed karma yoga, they have led a life of a king. Now here also people say, we don't know what is going on inside somebody, right? Oh, that Baba is there, he was going in a Mercedes car and this and that. We just go by that. Don't you hear that saying that what kind of a person he is? Or they say they accept the objects of senses, they neither yearn for them nor they run away from them. So because their consciousness is united with God, this they look at everything as God's energy to be utilized in his service as well. A lot of people say, right, what kind of a sannyasi? Oh, our Babaji, he doesn't even touch money. What does that prove? That is fine. That's a call they take. But why would we run away from something which will, what is money? What is money is Lakshmi, wife of Narayan himself. So why do we need to worry about that, right? As that means there is some secret stash we have not yet confronted. You utilize that money for the service of God. What's the problem? Right? Swamiji so beautifully explained in one of his lectures that people come and say, "Oh, Babaji, how can you touch money and stuff like that?" He said, "What's the point of not touching money? Our master, spiritual master, not only touched money but taught people how to give money as well for the service of God. It's the end of that energy of God. You simply utilize it for the service." And not say, "Oh, I'm sannyasis, I have to stay away from money and this and that thing," right? That could be a Falgu Vairagya, because there is still some seed which looks at it as something. There's an aspect of aversion to that, right? So when you rise above both hankering and aversion, that is what true Yukta Vairagya is. Right? Money in itself is not a problem at all, as long as you are not using it for your bhog, right? I don't know. I mean, I've not cracked Baba Ramdev's head, but a lot of people give me this argument that, he has this many multi-billionaire empire. All right, he has that. So what does it mean? Is he utilizing it for himself, or is he, I don't know. So nobody knows what's going on inside somebody's head, or what kind of life they are leading. Does it mean they need to renunciate money or everything around them? Probably their state of mind might be that externally it may appear so. So nobody can judge that, basically, essentially what I'm trying to tell, because it's an internal matter, not something that you look at superficially. With that, I'll take a quick break because we have some interesting session planned up. Like I said, we're going to go through some spiritual concepts, incremental build up over time, and this is going to reinforce a lot of things that we are discussing. So any questions, real questions before we get into the next segment? Based on Yukt Vairagya discussion that we have had so far. Karm Yog, Karm Sannyas. Okay, yes, Sandhya, go ahead, please. We have one
Uh,
student who's proxying for everybody today. Yes, go ahead, please.
Actually, this is not a question, but a comment. Something I heard from Maharajji, that we and saints, both of us live in the same
Mhm.
world, same material existence, but we are not able to experience the happiness, but they are always eternally in the bliss. And the reason being, we are only perceiving things from in their external way, right? We are just seeing the Maya objects, but they are actually able to perceive the God who's seated within everything, in all the atoms, and hence they are experiencing the bliss. So it is just a matter of perspective.
True, very true. And that perspective is something that we get from the proper knowledge, right? So very true. They're also existing in the same world. For them, it doesn't matter at all, right? Now we say they are saints. We are not saints, but they were not born saints. Yes, they were born saints, but they've worked towards that sainthood. There are two kinds of saints, by the way. I think this question might pop up. And somebody said there is one which is called a Nitya Siddh. They've eternally liberated. Okay, they are truly VIPs. for some reason. They were Nitya Siddh, means ever since this creation has come, they have always been liberated souls, even though they are Jivatmas, but they have eternally liberated. And then there are saints which are Sadhan Siddh, which were Jivatmas like us, but they were WIPs to begin with, work in progress, and then they worked their way to sainthood by reciting God's name, by his remembrance, by all the aligning to all the spiritual principles. So both kind of, regardless of that, they are in perpetual bliss, even in this world. So things that concern us, bother us, they don't, because they understand the big picture and they can perceive the divinity, even though they might be operating in this mundane world. So their consciousness is at a different level altogether. So that's the reason why they are always in bliss. Thank you for calling that out, Sandhya. Anything else before we move to our next segment? Or maybe we can take questions together, because I'm sure after this presentation, we'll have more questions that will come up, but I'm looking forward to it. It's all yours, Kash. Please go ahead. I'm going to stop share. Are you co-host or not yet? Can somebody make Kash the co-host?
Done.
Cool.
Okay,
You're all-
let me try. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. Yes, now we can.
Okay.
Nice flute and good, nice feather as well. So interesting. Good.
Okay. So, Radhe Radhe, everyone. Thank you for this privilege of once again bringing you some of Maharaji's marvelous teachings. So I'll introduce today's topic. We have been rotating lifetime after lifetime in this cycle of birth, disease, old age, death. So it's time we put some serious thought into where we actually want to be. And this kind of is an extension of some of the Sankhya Yoga we've been hearing about last week, right? Why are we putting God first? And what is the whole point of dovetailing everything towards God? So we'll kind of talk about that. So the topic today is from goal to goal. So for our friend Michelle and others who don't do Hindi, goal actually means circle, but in this context, goal means around and around. So it's just a play on words to say we want to stop this relentless rotation and we want to focus on our goal. So we'll just consider the success criteria at the end of these few minutes is if we can double down on our intent to go towards God, right? So moving right along, let's talk about the purpose behind actions. So why do we do what we do? So Maharaji is going to employ 4 characters to illustrate his points. And they are wicked people, God, his saints, and regular people. So why do we do what we do? Because wicked people, they want to cause trouble, they want to cause distress to other folks. On the other hand, God and his saints, they want the welfare and well-being of the masses. And then most folks like us work for our families, money, fame, power. So this is at one level, these are all very different actions that, all these different personalities perform. But if you double click into these, and if we look at what is the internal motivation behind performing these actions, we'll find that it's because it makes them happy. So what we realize is the actions externally are very different, but the reason they're being done is all the same. It's because doing these things makes them happy. So first point to note is every soul desires bliss, which is nothing but God personified. So let's keep that in mind for now and move on. He also says you could look at it as freedom from suffering. And the scriptures describe 3 types of suffering, which I know have been covered in class before. But if you have trouble remembering what those are, let's just look at some Sanskrit root words real quick. So Adi means above, around, or beside. Atma is self or soul. Bhuta is other living entities. And just to tie it back with the 5 deaths that we learned about a few weeks ago, we had Devrin, Rishiran, and one of them was Bhutrin, which is debts towards other living entities like the earthworms that fertilize soil and the bees that pollinate, etc. So that's just a way of remembering who them is other entities. And then Daivik means supernatural divine forces, stuff that's outside our control. So the three different types of suffering are adhyatmic, so adhyatmic, which is physical suffering, mental suffering, diseases of the mind and body. There's adibhautik, which is afflictions caused by other living beings. And then adidaivik, which is stuff caused by heat, cold, rain, supernatural forces. So what he's trying to say is you're either trying to actively seek happiness or you're trying to get away from suffering. It's all the same. So then going back to our original story, let's look at what is our inherent inclination. So what do we all naturally gravitate towards? Look who's back. Okay, so God and his saints, they preach qualities like truth, patience, non-violence, all noble qualities. We find that most people also gravitate towards these divine qualities. So anything we try to do in life, we do try to keep these qualities in mind and act accordingly. Wicked people, on the other hand, you're probably thinking, surely they do not have noble qualities in their mind as they go about their things. But Maharaji, in his clever way, he says, even a thief who makes a living by separating others from their possessions won't approve if he is robbed of his own possessions. And this makes perfect sense. So, second point to note is that every soul has a natural affinity for divine qualities, even wicked people in their own hypocritical ways. So then, moving on, let's talk about what our inherent propensities are, which means how do we want to naturally behave? What's our natural behavioral tendency? Here they are again. So God and his saints, they provide teachings. They set examples for other people to look at and emulate. Most folks, they are behaving the way they're behaving because they're trying to do their duties in the material world. They're trying to be what their role is at work, in their family, their friends, their hobbies. Wicked people in general, let's just say they're up to no good. So before we go to the third point, Bhagavad Gita 3.0 says, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karmakrit, which means no soul can remain inactive even for a moment. So what it's trying to say is we can't sit still. We're all doing something. So the point third to note is every soul makes a constant attempt for attainment of bliss, which is God. So here we are, goal yet no goal. So what have we established so far? We said every soul desires bliss. We said every soul has a natural affinity towards divine qualities. We said every soul makes that constant attempt for attainment of this bliss. And let's sneak in a fourth point, which all our scriptures say, all individual souls are eternal, immortal, and unborn. So what is this really? What we're trying to say is we all are hankering for happiness. We have been around forever. So Maharaji takes his time establishing this, right? And then he serves up the kicker. Are you ready? He says, how astonishing that in spite of our continuous efforts for countless lifetimes, we have not as yet attained this bliss. What? So I'm a pretty positive person, but when I read this, my heart sank kind of a little bit because it just hits you when you think of it this way. There's something you've always wanted to do. You've been around forever and you haven't done it. So I'm going to digress here just a little bit because this made me think of, Shamji's question last week before we broke out. He was talking about how it seems next to impossible to get to this point. But I feel like, yes, we have been rotating times, but this lifetime is different. This time is different. We have three things going for us. We have found our gurus in Maharaji and Swamiji, and they have neatly packaged a very succinct and powerful spiritual practice for us that we just need to follow. Secondly, all our lives have converged at this point in Nitinji's Bhagavad Gita classes, where God bless his soul, he gives us this valuable Tattva-gyan, which we can use to propel our spiritual practice, even further. And then thirdly, we have found each other in this Bhagavad Gita family. So yes, we have individual paths, but we can support and inspire each other by sharing our experiences. So, you know, when we have these things going for us, how can we lose hope, right? We just need to keep going at it one step at a time. So that was my little spiel, but getting back into this. So Maharaji, of course, it's not all doom and gloom. He has the answers for us. So he says we can divide all of our prevalent theories for the attainment of this into two categories. One is a materialistic point of view, and the other one is a spiritual one. So he says the happiness that you experience on the fulfillment of any materialistic desire is only transitory. We've been talking about this a lot. It is immediately replaced by another stronger desire. And to solidify this point, he says for centuries, man has made much material progress. Civilization has progressed so much. And yet we find there is no inner peace and little happiness. That's permanent anyway. So this, we can conclude from this that materialistic progress cannot purify the inner self. And without this, any hope of attaining peace and happiness is absolute madness. So the question is, you want real happiness? Well, there's two paths to choose from. And Maharaji says, don't go here on the material path. You'll not find what you're looking for. He says, go here on the spiritual path. Therein lies your real happiness. So this kind of made me think the other day, I lost my glasses and I was looking for them all over the house and I was never going to find them because I had left them in the car. So if you're looking for something in the wrong place, you're never going to find it. It also made me think that the material world is amazing. How? Here we are, we have two places we could possibly look for. This material world does feel like a maze. We've been here countless times. We try different things. I've highlighted some spots in yellow. There's so many dead ends. We keep following a path, we hit a dead end, we try something else, it's another dead end, and so on, life goes, lifetimes go. But then our gurus tell us there is a simple, straight path you can follow that will lead you to real happiness. So this is just perspective. Anyway, I feel like all this knowledge, we wouldn't be doing it justice if we didn't apply it. So applied knowledge is real power. So let's talk about how practice makes progress. Usually people say practice makes perfect, but perfection can be daunting. Perfection seems far away. So why don't we just talk about progress? Progress seems very achievable, seems very doable. So I was thinking to myself, if we're going to double down our intent to go towards God, why don't we, for the next few days, try this? Shun the material and choose the spiritual, right? So I asked myself a question. What is one small material desire that we can practice turning away from over the next 1 week? And you guys know I'm a tea professional, so drink several cups of chai a day. And I thought to myself, let me limit it to 2 cups. Every time I think of another cup of chai, I'm going to shun that thought. And why stop there, right? When we shun that thought, what is one small spiritual practice we can do instead? So I thought, when I think about chai, I'm going to spend 2 minutes either doing a chant or listening to a bhajan or something. I can tell you I've done this over the last few days and I at least get 20 minutes of extra spiritual time per day. So I invite you to join me in this practice if you would like. And I want to leave you with this one thought. Every expert was one. So yeah, the path seems long. Yeah, it seems arduous, but we're all in it together and let's just take one step at a time and we'll get there. So that was it from me for today. Thank you for your patience and attention. Radhe Radhe.
Awesome, Cash. That was a very power-packed, impactful performance, I must say that. So I'd encourage participants to fill out the feedback tracker. Let us know how you felt about the new segment that we have introduced. So just to let you know that we will have it every Wednesday. This time, last Wednesday, I had missed out because I had a brain fade. So we had a makeup session. But every Wednesday, we'll have this segment card out. As you can see, it is pretty impactful. And Cash, you're awesome. Okay. She delivered all the key message in a manner that would resonate with you and including a call to action, right? So now you can join whether you want to give up chai or whatever that thing is where you want to take your mind from the mundane to spiritual. Here's some practical tools around it, how you can do and, the direct consequence of that is, I mean, like she said, 20 minutes of chanting, 2 cups of tea, if that's a good start, to replace that. And every expert was a beginner at one point, right? So it's a great opportunity. I loved it. I'll open it up for everyone for your feedback, questions, comments around what we have spoken about or anything that we discussed in this power packed, 10-minute capsule that we have introduced. I'll open it up now for any questions, suggestions, remarks. Yes, Monica ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Monica ji.
Radhe Radhe. Loved it. And Cash, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm using this word, but you killed it. Seriously. Please do not reduce, more than 2 cups a day.
Oh no.
I also get tempted, but then it's a good, very, very good idea. This also reminds me that how our ancestors, they came up with days like Ekadashi. It's very good for your health if you follow not to eat and choose not to eat on certain days. If we cannot calculate, it is calculated by them in our calendars, and then it's there like Ekadashi, right? So similarly, let's say if we come up with ideas like this, that any small any small thing, that any small pleasure or whatever, if it's not giving up, but then it's like replacing it with something more lucrative, like you said, chanting. We anyways do that. So let's say if third cup of tea is tempting us, and then we replace it with chanting, well, what more? I mean, this idea would have come to anybody, but then it did not. Maybe to you, and then you shared, and then obviously sharing experiences is something that we are here to walk each other home, like Nitinji says. So I think this is beautiful. Thank you for. I'm sure it takes a lot of time, effort, creativity to come up with presentation like this, and then Nitinji, like how you come up with one-liners, I think she comes up with one words like that. Goal, no goal. Loved it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Radhe
And,
Radhe.
okay, chai and chanting both have CHA common. Okay, you just have to replace the second part of it. Great.
Yes.
I love the creativity, the way it was presented. So very, very impactful, I must say that. Yes, Sandhya, wanted to add something? Shyamji, you have to say something today. Yes, Sandhya, go ahead.
Um,
And
I
Nuji, you can be prepared as well. Okay.
I can see the excitement on Meenuji's face for sure. Yes, so love the presentation, and I think my favorite part was very succinct, to the point, and very impactfully conveying what Maharajji has said to us. He has been trying to teach, and very creatively as well. So I'm sure he is also watching it, and he is becoming happy looking at this way of presenting the knowledge he has presented to all of us. So thank you so much. And I love the way you have positively looked at everything, right? And you have infectiously spread that vibe across. So that is what we all need to do when we are following the path of bhakti. So thanks for giving the kick around that. That's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Sandhya, you very succinctly articulated the succinct presentation that Cash gave. So very nice. Good job. Yeah, I love those, goal to goal, and the maze aspect of it. We are kind of, stuck in a maze right now. So I think a lot of thought goes behind it. And of course, Maharajji's grace, we can see that it's pouring over, because being able to attempt to transcribe his philosophy into visuals itself requires a lot of grace. And that is pouring. So keep it up, Cash. Great start. I'm looking forward to more of these sessions, every Wednesday. Yes, Arun, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe Arunji.
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Yeah, it was very nice. I liked it. It was very terse and very to the point. So it was very nice. And I was thinking maybe now I should have a SKU in part of the Kahoot, which
Of
is
course,
cash up. So
it gives you an additional stuff, food for, for your quiz thing as well. Now we have another segment which will be there.
we'll have triple S, we'll have SKU, and then maybe I think at this rate the actual Gita slides are reducing in the questions.
So we will continue that. That will remain. So don't worry about that. Gita will remain. Okay. So, but yeah, we have more variety. See, these concepts are like they're going to reinforce what we are doing.
Yeah.
Right? Coming in directly from Maharajji's teaching and what Swamiji has made it so palatable for us. So it's just that augmenting our understanding through different. It's like a flanking approach they take in baseball. You attack it from different angles, and something will stick. So that is the whole idea of bringing in these segments, so that we can have a more enriching experience around it, and attack it from different angles so that it becomes a more holistic understanding around what we are talking about. Okay, so that's the whole idea behind it. It's also going to supplement our understanding around the key concepts that we are discussing.
And there's a comment from Payaldi as well. Such a wonderful and practical tool provided in the capsule to implement and strengthen our bond with Krishna. It is just beautiful.
Awesome. Please fill out the feedback tracker as well. Okay, there'll be more things you can talk about the the segment and other things that. So I'm looking forward to reading your notes as well on this. Yes, Shyamji.
Shyamji, Radhe Radhe.
इतने भाई राधे राधे. तो आपने कहा तो मुझे बोलना पड़ा. Thank you so much. And as Cash said, goal to Golok upfront. So that's the way we all have to be. And Cash, as the name suggests, Cash, हम भी अगर if we can be like Cash, so हमें तो कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. We will be in a very speed journey to Golok. That's all we want. And really, thank you so much, Cash, for all your wonderful insights and your time and devotion. It really means a lot that being in such a environment and busy with your life schedule, you are taking time for us to help out and be rocket to Golok. Thank you so much. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Shyamji. Very nice. Minuji, you wanted to add something? You'll be very happy
Yes.
today. I can see that. Have you seen Maharajji's teachings being presented, that too by somebody you have not seen enough of? So please go ahead. We'd love to hear your inputs on this.
Radhe Radhe, Meenaji.
Radhe Radhe. I think Cash is really amazing, how she can express, Maharaj's Tattva Gyan in, 5 minutes with the diagrams. It's amazing. But yes, I used to drink tea also, by the way. And how I broke my habit, by understanding, what Maharaji said about tea and, caffeine and nicotine and, not good for our blood. So we can do it gradually. I started with, like she was saying, instead of 2 cups, we can have 1. And then gradually I started with decaf tea, you're thinking you're drinking tea, but you're drinking decaf. And then now I only use herb tea. Green tea or, lemon, ginger, tulsi tea. I make those different kind of teas, But once you just have to get used to it and form a habit, you think you're drinking a tea, but you drink, there are so many different kind of natural tea, and they are good for your health. And we, during this pandemic time, I also every day I used to haldi is so good for us, haldi, lemon, ginger, tulsi. These are the tea is delicious, and put some honey in it, and instead of putting sugar, you can put honey in it.
The
I think-
discussion tees off to tea invariably. I don't know what's
Huh?
going on. All the discussion.
Rasgulla or tea. Whenever these things come up, no, they take up the whole.
Yeah, and then like she's saying, doing chanting, and then you're saying that you're taking care of the body. He is with us, and we are taking. If we take care of our body and health, then only we can do seva. And, same thing is with non-vegetarian food. I was brought up with.
Yeah, we'll talk more about food and tea. So today we can tell Cash how her presentation was, because I'm sure you would have
She is amazing, and I
felt
think
really good
you
about
should
it.
make some reel or something that I can share with other people also, what she's presenting. I like to share with public. That's how amazing she is.
It is going to be an ongoing segment. That is what I'm saying. So as you can see, it requires a lot of thought, effort, and creativity to get that message across in 10 minutes, right? I didn't
Yes,
feel
yeah.
we were rushed, and at the same time, I didn't feel that the message was not delivered. So that's why we'll have it as a standing segment, and then of course we will, it will inspire more people to join, and we'll figure out ways to market
Yes.
that and get that
Yeah.
going. Vijay, you are one of our inspiration when it comes to marketing, right? So we'll work on that aspect as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank
It was
you.
excellent, great.
Thank
Keep
you.
it up. Thank you.
Tusha, go ahead, please.
Radhe Radhe, Pratisha ji.
Radhe Radhe, Sanjay ji, Radhe ji, sir, everyone. Actually, what I want to say was I love Cash's presentation. Love, super awesome. My favorite line was shun the material and choose the spiritual. So I loved it. Actually, I wanted to say something on that line. Like few days back, I spoke with Nitin sir, and I had a question that I had asked earlier about the Sanchit Karma. What happens when we have learned our lesson and the Sanchit Karma? Does it burn away? The previous acts and all of that. So, sir said that God will not put that again in your life, but it will, He will give you some higher problems. So I was thinking that, oh my God, higher problems. So how can I, put it into example way? So then what came into my mind was like, if you've learned your ABCs, then probably it's time to go to, first class, second class, third class, like that. That is the trajectory of your spiritual path. You move upwards. So you will have civics, or you will have, science, the biology, all those kinds of things instead of just the ABCs. So that is the way. And then that also led me to another story that Sir shared in the class about the horn of that, one cow that was turned in a round way. And this guy was thinking for 1.5 years whether he should put the head, while milking. And finally he did it. And people asked, did you really think about it? And he said, yeah, I've been thinking about for 1.5 years. So that is the, amount of trust we are giving to the intellect, even though we don't have the right knowledge. And again, that led me to another, thing is, can we really trust our mind? And that brought my mind to the the sentence that is, shun the material and choose the spiritual. Because when we are continuously, if do we really trust our minds? That made me think anything that our mind says, at least in a negative thing about judging others, or, any negative thoughts or anything, I will shun that. So that was my, like, a tea thing, that was like, I will not entertain that. So can we shun our mind? So, so that's what I wanted to share.
See, I'll tell you one. Thank you, Pratusha. I think very nicely said. One thing is, when you make a resolve, let's say before going to sleep, or you really want to work on something, what will happen is, now Paramatma inside you has taken note of it. So what happens is, next time when that opportunity or moment comes, there will be a knock. You'll feel at least a reminder would come. At least personally, I've experienced that. So we pick up something, you are serving the purpose of this creation, then God will help us in that. So when you get about doing that act, or something is happening, then some kind of a knock would come, and then it's up to you what free will you exercise at that point, right? But great point, Pratusha. So thank you for that. Now we move on to our devotional segment. Let's move to that. Today we had like a holistic session, starting and then this, and then the new segment that we added. Now we'll end it up with our devotional segment as well. So Swatiji, is it for the devotional segment? Let's open it up. We can take a few hands, and then get.
Swatiji,
Swatiji, you had a question, or is it for the devotional segment?
Actually, I wanted to comment one line on the cash, whatever she explained. No? It was wonderful presentation. What my takeaway was that maze thing, there is no end. We'll keep on rotating. Take the either straight way to the God. That is the what I got impressed with. And it was beautiful. Thank you, Radhe Radhe. Bhajans, if Sumiran Demana is there, then I would like to sing. So,
yeah, I'll
Take
start
a few-
sharing.
take a few hands, and then let's do that as well.
And actually, there was a comment from Kumarji with respect to the class discussion. Should I read it, Nitinji, right now?
Please.
He said that Ramakrishna Paramhans did not touch money. He got boils on his skin when Vivekananda kept money under mattress to check it out. So some sannyasis are also like that, and there is nothing wrong with that either, I think.
There's nothing here. There's nothing wrong or right. That's why I'm saying it's the internal state of mind towards that particular thing that you have, right? So if we take that as a yardstick, that okay, only if somebody doesn't touch money, he's a saint. If he's touching money or he has an empire, that is not the right way to do that. So I think the key message is, what is your internal attitude towards something that matters more than the external appearance or manifestation around it. That is the key message that we were discussing today. Okay, great.
Should we get started with the devotional segment?
Yes, let's get started.
Okay, Swati, do you want to go first, or?
yeah, no problem. I can start with that. Radhe Radhe. सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना। सारा जग
Your voice.
नाता सपना, सच ओके, साचा नाता हरि से मना, जीव लक्ष्य भक्ति से मना, मन की है शुद्धि करना, सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना। थैंक यू राधे राधे।
Very nice. Thank you, Swati ji. Okay, got a few hands. Yes, Shyamji, go ahead. I am looking forward to your Sumiran improvisation today. Go ahead, please.
थैंक यू सो मच। राधे राधे।
Radhe Radhe.
सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, सारा जग नाता सपना, साचा नाता हरि से मना, जीव लक्ष्य भक्ति से मना, मन की है शुद्धि करना, सुमिरन 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 कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, राधे 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 राधे।
Very nice, Shyamji. Very, very nice. See, Maharajji's bhajan you are singing, it has been quite a journey, I must say that. And it is just to get to that position of being able to sing his compositions. I mean, you can't imagine what the privilege it is, right? And I'm sure
I,
he must be laughing his heart out on your improvisation on Sumiran that you do that. Okay, so
I'm sure he should. Thank you so much. Radhe
That's
Radhe.
a very cute improvisation, right?
very cool. Thank you. All right, let's take the remaining. Yes, Pratusha, go ahead.
Yes, Pratusha ji, Radhe Radhe.
राधे राधे। सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, सारा जग नाथ सपना, साजा नाथ हरि से मना, सारा जग नाथ सपना, साजा नाथ हरि से मना, जीव लक्ष्य भक्ति से मना, मन की है शुद्धि करना, जीव लक्ष्य भक्ति से मना, मन की है शुद्धि करना। राधे राधे।
Very nice, Pratusha. Very soulfully sung. Thank you. All right, Sandhya, go ahead.
Okay. सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, सारा जग नाता सपना, साचा नाता हरि से मना, जीव लक्ष्य भक्ति से मना, मन की है शुद्धि करना, सुमिरन 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 कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना. Yeah.
Very nice, beautiful Sandhya. All right, Riya ji, go ahead, please.
Yes, Radhe Radhe Riya ji.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe.
सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना सारा जग नाता सपना सांचा नाता हरि से मना जीव लक्ष्य भक्ति से मना मन की है शुद्धि करना सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना.
Very nice, Riya
Thank you
ji.
so much. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe. Yes, Meenu ji. And then let me raise my hand as well, and then we'll wrap it up.
Meenu ji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
राधे
Good.
राधे. सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना सारा जग नाता सपना सांचा नाता हरि से मना जीव लक्ष्य भक्ति से मना मन की है शुद्धि करना सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. I can go. Nobody is okay. So this is a very deep one, like Maharajji's bhajan. This is very beautiful bhajan. So thank you, Sandhya, for picking it up. In fact, it's resonating in my head when we, wrap up our session with that, and for most part of the day as well. We're saying worldly relationships are but a dream. Think about that reality. And when do we wake out of our dream? When we wake up. When do we wake up? When we are about to sleep, which world says is sleep, right? When we are about to depart in this world. So at that time we wake up and then we realize again we played this drama, right? So your true and eternal relationship is only with God, and aim of the soul is to purify the mind through the practice of devotion. Devotion is the key thing. So let me recite it. These are very beautiful lines. सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना सारा जग नाता सपना सांचा नाता हरि से मना जीव लक्ष्य भक्ति से मना मन की है शुद्धि करना सुमिरन 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 कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना राधे राधे गोविंद बोल राधे राधे गोविंद बोल सुमिरन कर ले मना छिन छिन राधा रमना. All right. So thank you everybody for another engaging session and for coming up. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So we'll continue. I think we'll pick up probably the new shloka or maybe have some winding up discussion. No. All right. So we have a Valentine Gopi Prem Divas coming up. So this week we are going to spend time on the topic of love. Okay, what is true love? What is the concept of soulmate and that perfect love that all of us are seeking in this world? So we'll talk about that topic looking at it from Shastra Chakshu or Vedic perspective, what our scriptures are telling us about that. So we're going to spend next few sessions leading up to Valentine's on this topic. So if you have friends and people who are besotted with love, falling in love, fallen in love, or trying to get out of love, get them on in this session. Okay, we're going to have a good discussion on this topic. So thank you, everyone. Radhe Radhe. Good night, good day from my side. And thank you, Cash, for a wonderful
Awesome.
presentation today.
Yes, thank you everybody for engaging participation. And yes, true love is in the air and we are going to learn about it. So I am very excited. Thank you, Nitinji. And see you all tomorrow. Have a good night and a good rest of your day. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you, everyone.